attorney and former prosecutor Elliot.
Well, what's the old saying, no good deed goes unpunished?
Yeah.
I mean, this strikes a lot of people as very unfair in this particular case. He may be little known outside of China, but Xi Jinping is about to become one of the most powerful people in the world. In some ways, the new Chinese premier remains a mystery, even to those who closely follow Chinese politics. He's risen to the top of the political system in part by being very careful in what he publicly discloses. And even after a year-long coming-out party that has included high-profile trips abroad, meetings with key world leaders, little is known about how he'll approach the big issues confronting China in the years ahead. It didn't come across as the most warm and fuzzy potential witness I've ever seen, but he didn't come across as a guy with anger issues. He didn't come across as a rabid racist, as he's been portrayed by some in the media. And most importantly, he didn't come across as someone who went out that night looking to kill someone. And let's remember, these types of pretrial interviews don't always go so well for defendants. Well, this just might qualify as the least surprising story of the day, maybe of the week. Lindsay Lohan in trouble again, arrested again in New York, again for an altercation, yeah, again. This time an apparent fight outside of a nightclub in Manhattan's Meatpacking District. The troubled actress was taken into police custody and released several hours later after she was booked on misdemeanor assault charges. She has a January 13th court date. First, the pilot is being prosecuted. He's been arraigned, he's been indicted, the FBI is investigated, so he's facing a potential 20 years. Typically, courts want to make sure that a criminal prosecution goes forward first, so those issues are determined before civil matters get determined. But I just don't think these folks have a case. New concerns tonight as the nation edges ever closer to the dreaded fiscal cliff. According to sources, both sides on Capitol Hill remain far apart, with little progress to report. Whose taxes, if any, should go up? And what programs should be cut? And how deep should those cuts be? At this point, it seems none of these issues have been resolved, with the deadline drawing ever closer. This is the result of one parent complaining to the local chapter of the ACLU. The ACLU then sends a letter to the school district, and the school district decides that they're going to go along with the ACLU's request and ban all of these type of gender-specific activities, whether it's the very popular father-daughter dance, the equally popular mother-son ball game. The local head of the ACLU says these traditions belong in the 1950s, and that any sort of activities that assume that boys want to play baseball or assume that girls want to go to dances are outdated, have to be scrapped. Long lines at newsstands and convenience stores all over the U.S. today as Powerball mania continues to build. At last check, the multi-state lottery jackpot had reached $500 million. That's the second biggest jackpot of all time, and it's expected to grow throughout the day. The odds of an individual ticket winning, 175 million to 1.
My good friend, and what are we, co-birthday
It's a very special day.
Yeah, it's
for both of us.
His birthday. It's Elliot, Felix's birthday, and it's my birthday today, and it's perfect because we're booked together.
Yes, but the record will reflect, as anyone can see, I am much older. Quite obvious.
That's why I booked him, right?
It's the end of the line for the world's longest nonstop flight. Singapore Airlines announcing today it will end its Newark to Singapore flight, which clocked in at 18 and a half hours. The all-business class flight will make its last run in December 2013. The airline halted the service as a result of both lower demand for business class seats as well as its decision to phase out the airplane model used to fly the route. The third year tends to be crucial. If you look at the last few presidents to seek re-election,
sure.
George Herbert Walker Bush started out in 1991, the third year of his presidency, with sky-high poll numbers. We had just won the Gulf War. But then as the economy worsened, his numbers went down, 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 and he was actually obviously defeated. He only got 38% for re-election. And that 38%, as is often the case, it matched his approval rating. If President Obama's approval rating is in the high 40s, if he can get over the 50% mark, yeah, he's in pretty good shape. And Crystal's right, the Republican candidates who have dipped their toes in, all of them come with some pretty significant baggage. Is it the end of the Twinkie? Hostess, the maker of the iconic snack, which has been an American favorite since it first debuted in 1930, announced today it's filing for bankruptcy. The company was unable to agree to terms with unions representing its 18,000 workers. Fear not, though, Twinkie fans. Industry analysts expect the popular brand will likely be sold off to a competitor and could continue to grace supermarket shelves all over the world. Long live the Twinkie.